Good morning, everybody. Chugging along through the week here. Now that we are on this Thursday, glad you're with us. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Neda Iranpour. Yes, thanks for being here. And the weekend, it's looking so good.
Nice.
We just have a little cloud coverage to deal with for now.
And maybe a spritz this afternoon here. We've got a baseball practice. Is it the kind of rain that's going to ruin something like that, Evan?
No, not at all. I like the word spritz rather than even a drizzle. It's like, it's almost refreshing, right? We could use it. We see absolutely those overcast skies kicking off the morning. Not much of the sun being let through. You can, of course, take a photo of what you're seeing outside, snap it, and send it to us on the News 8 app. Just click on the Near Me tab. We'd love to see how you're starting off your Thursday morning. Overcast skies are going to be the theme for a good portion of it. The sun will be allowed through for just a little bit of the afternoon, and then showers develop past about 3 p.m. Wind is also something we're keeping an eye on, mainly off toward the mountains and deserts, where we have a wind advisory that is in effect currently. Accumulation totals probably going to rest around 1/10 to maybe 2/10 of an inch. Jenny's got a check of traffic this morning. Hi.
I sure do, and we've got 2 new crashes here, including one on the Coronado Bridge. So this is right at the tail end there at Alameda Boulevard. You can see the bridge is heavy, down to about 12 miles an hour from there. Another brand new crash, and this one's up to the north. It is impacting your drive on the 15, specifically southbound right at the exit to Center City Parkway. Lane is blocked, but no big delays.
All right, Jenny, thank you very much.
This morning, local health officials are keeping a close eye on a coronavirus variant. This one from overseas, and now it's being detected here in our county.
News 8's Chris Groh live outside the county administration building with what we need to know about this new variant, what they're seeing here in San Diego. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, and this is the Brazil variant, and it has been detected in our county. What county health officials are going off of right now, just 2 confirmed cases, and both of them a little bit different in the fact that one of them is a San Diego resident with no history of recent travel, and the other one is a non-resident with some recent travel history. However, both were not vaccinated, and both thankfully did not have to be hospitalized or have any type of serious symptoms. But the issue with certain variants like the Brazil one is that it could be more effective in resisting vaccines. But what's not clear, and even a little bit more troublesome, is if it could make symptoms more severe in certain cases, or if it makes the virus more easily transmissible. Now, Dr. Eric McDonald, the county's Health and Human Services medical director, says it's important to point out that with everyone being vaccinated right now, they should not change whether or not they go to get their vaccine, whether that be the first or second dose. Because while we may not know a lot about how these variants could impact the vaccines and how effective they are, it's still important to get them going forward.
The message of the vaccine is that you should get it when it's your turn. That message has not changed. And again, this is important for scientists to look into as time goes by to see if there might be a need way down the road for a booster, for example, that might cover new variants. But the take-home message right now is you don't need to do anything different. Just practice the same precautions and get the vaccine when it's your turn.
And the other message Dr. McDonald saying, as you heard there, to make sure that we're all staying vigilant, to make sure we're still social distancing and using those masks. Eric and Neda.
Chris Groh reporting live. Thank you, Chris. County health officials reporting 257 new COVID cases, 11 new deaths to report. That total now in our county, 3,509. Hospitalizations continue their downward trend, though. Less than 230 COVID-related patients are now in the hospital. And here is how the vaccine distribution numbers are breaking down this morning. More than 1,508,000 doses have been given out. Over 31% of people in the county have received one shot. 19% have been given both doses. And 94% of the doses the counties have received have actually been administered. Neda?
So we are seeing our case rates continuing to decline. We're getting a better idea about a path that would pave the way for more reopenings. Take a look right here. So this is the current California tier map. These are our latest colors that signify, of course, the reopenings, what can and cannot be open. And you see San Diego right here at the bottom. Yes, we are still in the red tier. News 8's Allison Royal joining us live from Chula Vista this morning to talk about how we can get to that orange tier. Good morning, Allison.
Good morning, Netta and Eric. Well, this could be a huge game changer for many local businesses, including some of the ones here on 3rd Avenue in Chula Vista. So many businesses have faced major restrictions during this pandemic, and the orange tier could mean more freedom to operate their business with some less restrictions, or fewer restrictions rather. So there are a couple of different ways that we can transition from the red tier to the orange tier. One of those is our case rate. So if we can bring that case rate down, that would be a huge step. That would mean maybe having a case rate below 4 new cases per 100,000 people for 2 consecutive weeks. The second way to do this is vaccines. If we can administer more vaccines to places that are considered vulnerable communities in the Healthy Places Index quartile, that could allow for loosening of the orange tier guidelines to 5.9 daily cases per 100,000 people. And then the last way is to look at the county's health equity metric as well, but not just in terms of vaccines, but also looking at testing positivity for areas with the lowest healthy conditions and testing positivity percentage, and see if those can fall into those yellow tier areas. But if that happens for 2 consecutive weeks, then we can just graduate to the orange tier. So I know that this is all a little bit confusing, but County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher said that the most likely way that we can transition from the red tier to the orange tier is that second method.
The possibility of descending into the orange tier ought to be extra motivation for each and every one of us to continue to do our part to help avoid the spread.
All right, so we know how we would need to get there, but what would happen when we actually do arrive to this highly desired orange tier? Well, there would definitely be some changes to businesses. So for example, retail will no longer have a set capacity, so that applies to shopping malls and shopping centers. The following places are going to go from 25% capacity up to 50% capacity, and a lot of these are businesses that you might even go to yourself. So restaurants, museums, zoos, aquariums, places of worship, and movie theaters. If you like to go to the gym, hey, that's going to go from 10% indoor capacity to 25% indoor capacity. Now, to give you an idea, back when we were in the purple tier, all those gyms had to be entirely outdoors. Family entertainment centers can move indoors to 25% capacity, and then people who are working remote, many of them will have the option to go back into in-person offices. So if you're working from home, that could be in the future for you. Wineries and breweries will no longer have time limits, and they will have a 25% capacity. And then family entertainment centers and live concert venues, those could be making a comeback too with some less restrictions, or fewer restrictions. So stay tuned and we'll see what opens up. I know I am looking forward to going to a concert very soon. If you want a bigger breakdown of how all of these work, if we make it to the orange tier, we have that on our website, that is cbs8.com. Eric and Netta.
Allison, thank you. The man accused of shooting and killing 10 people at a Boulder, Colorado grocery store will soon appear in court for the first time. It's happening this morning.
Police say the suspect used a weapon similar to an AR-15 in the attack and that he bought it less than a week ago. Investigators are looking at mental illness as a significant factor in the rampage and say at this point there is no indication that the suspect had been radicalized. The debate over gun control will take center stage when President Biden gives his first official media conference of his presidency today. The president is expected to face questions about the recent mass shootings that took place in Georgia and Colorado. The White House is reportedly considering at least 3 executive actions: strengthening background checks, blocking gun-making kit sales, and more funding to fight gun violence. CBS News will air a special report covering the event from the White House, and that is scheduled to start this morning at 10:15.
Vice President Kamala Harris has been tapped to lead the administration's effort to stem the surge of migrants crossing at our southern border. She's going to work with countries in Central America to try and address the root causes for migration. Some families who have crossed are being flown to El Paso, some of them here in San Diego, and then they get sent back to Mexico. 2 military bases in Texas, along with one in Colorado, they're being considered the next spots to house unaccompanied minors. As you know, we've been talking about the San Diego Convention Center also becoming a spot as early as this weekend for many migrants. Now, she has been sharing the stories of asylum seekers since 2016, so stay tuned as the San Diego Union Tribune's Kate Morrissey returns to share more about what she has seen right along the San Diego-Tijuana border. So you'll want to hear her interview. It was, so thorough yesterday. We needed her back on again today to dive a little bit deeper as well. So.
Yeah, firsthand account of what's been going on there. So very interesting stuff. Let's check in with Evan. Last interesting day for the weather for a while before we return to what's more normal here in San Diego County.
Yeah, I think it's nice to get a little bit of variety in the mix. Here's the view outside in PB right now. We've got a good amount of those clouds, and they're breaking apart in some spots, allowing for a small amount of the sun to shine through, a little bit bit cold out there. Netta said when she stepped outside, it was pretty crisp out there. We're expecting the start of the day to be dry, but then by the time we get to 3, 4, 5 p.m., we really start to see some showers pop up. Wind advisory currently in effect for mountains and deserts, and then off toward Imperial County, a blowing dust advisory that will take effect at 11 a.m. Usually don't see those blowing dust advisories. Those are pretty rare on there. Temperatures are largely in the upper 40s right now. Some spots already in the 50s. Chula Vista and San Diego, 53 and 54 degrees. Winds pick up toward your afternoon, 3, 4, 5 p.m. You can see 50 and 60 mile per hour gusts possible. Across the coastline, will stay mainly in the 20 and 30 mile per hour range. So those clouds do break apart. You can see that take place going into about noon all the way through 2 and 3 p.m. By the time we get toward your Friday, that's when we start to see these showers really calm down in their intensity. But toward your afternoon today is when we'll see them pop up. So they'll be more on-off all the way through the rest of your evening into the overnight hours. And then by the time we get through your Thursday and into Friday, Friday is when we really start to see these taper off, eventually giving us about 1/10 of an inch, maybe 2/10 of an inch of rain. Nothing too intense here. It'll be pretty light for the most part, with mountains expecting the heaviest accumulations of maybe 1/3 to 1/2 of an inch. High temperatures are going to stay affected by this low pressure system. Clouds, showers, of course, going to keep us cooler than average. Average would be mid-60s. Instead, we'll be mainly in the mid and upper 50s for this afternoon. But a strong warm-up hits as the weekend approaches. Look at Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. The warmth really kicks in. A high of 78 for your coastal regions on Sunday. Mid-80s by Sunday for your inland areas. And then even 90s possible, or at least near 90-degree territory by early next week for your deserts.